Behind every amazing flavor is an amazing human who has perfected their craft. Welcome to Flavors Unknown, a behind-the-scenes look at new flavors and the chefs, pastry chefs, and bartenders who create them, with your host, Emmanuel.
Welcome to episode 64 of the Flavors Unknown podcast. Today, my guest is the executive chef Silvia Barban of the restaurant LaRina in Brooklyn. She was a season 14 Top Chef contestant and was born and raised in northern Italy. With her beautiful Italian accent, Chef Barban shares her passion for fresh pasta, but still keep the secret of making her famous smoked spaghetti to herself. She described the variety of cuisines between the region of Venice and Calabria in Italy. I am your host, Emmanuel Laroche, and for the people who are new to the podcast, I have been in the food industry for more than 20 years, both in Europe and in the US. And every other week, I have a conversation with original, famous, and emerging chefs, pastry chefs, and mixologists. And you can find all the episodes on the website flavorsunknown.com. I want to thank all the people who already took the survey. Thank you so much for your nice words. And based on everyone's feedback, I will keep the episodes under 45 minutes, as most of you are listening to the podcast while driving. I'm excited as well to share that we will bring probably around May a well-known food critic to the show, as several of you were interested. I am extended the survey until the end of the month of February. You could win a $75 gift card. The link to the survey is bit.ly/flavorsunknown-survey1, or you can access the survey with a link on the Instagram bio or on the episode page on our website. Thank you in advance for your feedback. As a listener, your opinion matters. Hi, Chef. How are you?
Hi, Manuel. I'm okay. I'm good.
You're okay. You're okay. Okay. Yes. So I'm really excited to have you on the podcast, Flavors Unknown. Thank you very much for spending time with us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be in the podcast.
One day you made a decision that you wanted to participate to the Top Chef competition, on Bravo. So that was in the season 14. What made them decide that you wanted to do that?
Yeah, so when I was in Italy, actually, I was watching Top Chef all the time. I'll be like, one day I want to do that. And so when I came to the States, then my friend was like, oh, there is a call for Top Chef. Do you want to do it? And I was like, no. So I didn't do it. He did it. And then they called me to ask me about my friend. And then the person was like, you know what? I like you. Why don't you apply too? And I was like, all right, I'm going to apply. But then when I apply, I will never thought that I would get on the show. It's just like that dream that you're like, yeah, sure, I'm going to do it. And then I keep like going on the next round. I'm like, this is not possible. And then at the end, I got in.
Yeah.
I was like, what did I just do?
So how was the experience?
It was great. It was amazing. It changed. Yeah, I feel like I grew a lot.
Okay.
Thanks to the show, I grew my literally in life, but also like on artistic way, like on my cuisine, on my kitchen, on my flavor. I got inspired so much by the chefs over there, and we are still friends, and we still helping each other and always talk to each other.
So, what's the biggest lesson that you have learned? Participating to the show.
So many lessons. But no, I feel like I start to think more about how to speak up for myself and now.
More confidence?
Yeah, more confidence. Yeah. I feel like that it gave me that, and just to keep going and never stop. Even if you lose a challenge, doesn't mean you lost the war,
Sure, absolutely. And so was the experience at the level of the expectation when you were back in Italy and you were looking at the show, and now that you were on it, and then
it was worse.
It was worse in what way?
It was like very deep situation, You just go in this state of mind.
You have to tell me more. You have to tell me more now.
You just go in this state of mind, and that's why you get so you become so friend. Like the friendship they have with these people is just like so deep because you go through so many things. You basically 24/7 you are under stress. You don't know what's gonna happen. Judge is stable. 15 minutes of that show, it's equal 2 days of shooting.
Wow.
So
okay.
it's a long process. It's like my challenge when I got one of the challenge. People think maybe it was just just one day. It was like we knew who got eliminated 2 days after. It's insane, but I love it.
Yeah,
it was great.
So you said, I mean, you were all friends and so on. I cannot believe that. Like everyone is friend in the show because it's a competition. So it's human nature. So I'm sure there's as well some tensions, correct?
Well, yeah. I mean, there is someone that always you don't talk to, but most of the people that we're friends, we have a chat together.
Okay.
We always talk to each other. Some of the people there, they're like my best friends now. And yes, also like my season was different. As my season has veterans and rookie. So, it was kind of shocking when I saw, because people from the past season that I was watching in Italy, then they were like over there doing a challenge with me. I was like, this is crazy. But then I feel like I got so much connection with everyone, and I was the little of the group, so I take always suggestion and everything from everybody.
Okay. Will you do another one? Like maybe not the Top Chef, but another cooking show?
Yeah, for sure.
You think?
Yeah. Even Top Chef, I will do it again.
Oh, you okay? Cool. So that was a great experience then. Okay, very cool. So can you talk to us a little bit of the concept of LaRina in Brooklyn?
It's an Italian restaurant. Most of my business partners, we're all Italian. And so it's a pasta restaurant. Actually, when I came here 8 years ago, I came to consulting on a project in the city, and it was a pasta restaurant. So I was like, let me take the same passion that I have for pasta and already like the history that I had to the same thing. So that's why it started. It started because I was actually living the same block of the restaurant. I was like, it's missing a restaurant, and it's missing a place where people can go and buy grocery from Italy, fresh pasta, sauces, but even like Calabrian chilies or like little things that usually you have to go all the way to Manhattan to get. I was like, well, why we don't do the same things here? That's kind of how it started. And my cuisine, it's Italian cuisine, but obviously, Italian cuisine evolved in the years. So it has some traditional menu items, but at the same time, I like to use local stuff and give my own twist on dishes.
Can you give us an example of dishes where you use local stuff and you twist like the tradition from Italy?
Yeah, I mean the dish that I have since day one on the menu, actually, it's smoked spaghetti with aglio olio, and I feel like that's what kind of represents me. Sometimes I call it my life in a bowl, as like aglio olio is very traditional in Italy. It's garlic and olive oil with pasta spaghetti. It's the type of pasta that you make when you have a lot of people over and you don't have nothing in the fridge, and that's what you always have: olive oil and garlic and chili flakes. And so I took that one, and I'm using garlic and Calabrian chilies because my mother's from Calabria. I use hazelnut because hazelnut are from the north of Italy. And then we're in America, so what's best representation is smoky flavor. So basically, smoke my pasta.
How'd you do that? How do you smoke pasta?
Well, that's a secret. You need to come to Russia, and then I'm gonna explain it to you. I cannot reveal all my secrets.
It's a good answer. Okay. Okay, smoked pasta. That's really cool. That's very cool. How do you innovate, and bring something new in your cooking while you're maintaining the traditional aspects of the Italian cuisine that you grew up with?
Well, I feel like I approach by obviously from what is local and what is fresh. Sometimes I prefer a lot of times I prefer using products that are local than like something that will fly from Italy when we have something that is great from here. And so locally is very important. Use things that are in season. So that's a big part too. A lot of dishes that we have in Italy is like we don't eat Brussels sprouts. We don't have, I don't know, certain type of pasta. We don't mix it with like butternut squash or stuff like that. So I use what is my surrounding and what I have traditional, like my tradition, what I eaten when I was little and during my life, and just mix the two things together. But like I feel like everything is give you, even like go to another restaurant can inspire you to do something better and to do something different and unify with what you grew up with.
So I guess you haven't grew up with spaghetti and meatballs, correct?
Yeah, I haven't.
That drives me crazy because obviously coming from France, I think it's really interesting for the people listening to the episode today because they are going to have the French accent and the Italian
Yeah.
accent. So,
I don't even know
but
if they can understand us, honestly.
I don't know. We can talk with our hands because I live in the south of France for 18 years, more than 18 years. So, but it drives me crazy when people like here, and they have maybe an Italian background, and then they are talking about I got like spaghetti and meatballs, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no one in Italy like eats the spaghetti and meatballs doesn't
No.
exist. So what do you say
Like
when the people?
there is a dish from my family, but it's not spaghetti with meatballs, but like kind of something similar. But it's called pasta pasticciata, and it's basically rigatoni with like, it's basically the leftover. When your mother makes pasta with ragu and then is leftover, and I have some eggs and mozzarella, and then like have like, instead to use the ragu, has like some leftover meat, and we'll do little meatballs, just little one. And that one is the only thing they can find to be similar, but it's not really,
To be the
because like,
closest.
yeah, because it's like a baked pasta basically.
You were talking about like, anything could be a source of inspiration, like going to another restaurants and so on. Can you talk to us a little bit like the different source of inspiration that, that's part of your creative process?
Well, even like go just to the market. I feel like that's a good part of inspiration. See like all the beautiful product and use the best of things. Is like there is so many ingredients that in Italy I've never seen, and so they find here that I'm like, why I cannot just use this with my pasta? Why I can make it in a different way and just still find a way to be still Italian, but like using a product that is from here.
So let's go back in time a little bit because, obviously, coming from the northern part of Italy, you're talking about your mom from the south part, the southern Calabria area, your grandma as well. So I'm guessing you have been cooking with them in the kitchen when you were a little girl, correct? So this is something that has been part of your for like education at home, correct? Cooking with your family, or
Yeah. Of course, it's been part of like why I become a chef. Actually, my grandmother from my father's side, so she was from Venice. She was the one taking care of me, and so when I was little, I was a hyper kid. So she was giving me either water and wine. When you're 6, you drink water and wine. It means
sure, absolutely, yeah, I know. In France, we do that too. Absolutely.
To calm you down. And the other reason why I was calmed down is because she would teach me how to cook. And so that's how I started my journey, making roasted potatoes, making carnival fritters,
How
polenta.
old were you? How old were you
I was
when you started?
6.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I was always spending so much time with her. And when I was 10, she got sick because of stomach cancer. And
Oh, okay.
so when that happened, I was like, okay, so if grandma is not cooking anymore, who is gonna cook now for all the family? Like, who is gonna unify the family and have a big feast on every Sunday if she cannot do it? So I was like, I want to do that. I want to make people happy with my food. I want to start to cook, and I want to learn as possible, like as many recipes from my Venetian heritage, and from my mother's side as well, my Calabrian heritage. I will spend so much time in the summer in Calabria, and the food will be so good and amazing. And my aunt also, she's an amazing cook as well, and I will always ask her recipe and everything. So I got a lot of influence.
Yeah, can you give us an example of like the difference of what the style of cuisine in like from Venice and the style of cuisine from Calabria?
Yeah, of course.
That people that are listening, obviously maybe do not know the difference.
In the north of Italy, obviously, it's colder than in the south of Italy. So most of the cuisine is based on butter and risotto. Polenta is like heavy and warm stuff. Obviously, pasta too, but I feel like most of the time I will eat a lot of polenta in my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but then going the south of Italy, where you're close to the ocean and you just have another breeze, and like everything that you have is fish and olive oil, and just amazing produce as well. Just like and fry things, obviously, because why not? It will be a big part. Like cuisine in the south is then more light and full of seafood and olive oil and fresh produce compared like to the north of Italy, where it's gonna be a little more heavier and rich in flavor. So I feel like my cuisine is kind of the same. I have like most of my dishes, most of my pasta. I don't use any butter. I don't use butter. I don't use cream. Cream. I don't have that in my kitchen. When I was in school, my chef will tell me, "You know who use cream?" And I'm like, "No, who use cream?" It's like people that don't know how to cook pasta. They use cream. And I was like,
So
okay,
no cream in your cuisine then.
absolutely not.
Wow. Okay. But you said you use butter, correct? So butter
Well, yeah.
and olive oil. So obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if I make a risotto, we'll make it for sure. We'll put the butter, but in a pasta, besides like if it's a ravioli, I don't usually use butter in pasta. I use olive oil because I feel like butter covers kind of the flavor of the pasta, and like when you have a nice pasta, you don't want to cover by the richness from the butter or from the fat, and that's why you want to use olive oil and great ingredients as well.
What's your favorite brand of olive oil?
I mean, my favorite olive oil, it depends. If we're talking about olive oil from here, I really like Corto. It's an olive oil where they study a lot and they're making sure that the olives are perfect. Each olive is perfect. And the olive oil that comes out from there is like super green. And it seems like they just make olive oil yesterday when you're like using it. And obviously, like a lot of Italian olive oil, I just love it. Obviously, like the olive oil they use, the Venetian olive oil they use, they're from Italy, and it all depends from which how you want to use those. The best way to find the perfect olive oil is when you try it. It tastes like fresh fruit. It tastes like almonds. It tastes like green. If you feel like an olive oil when you try it and it doesn't, it tastes like soft. I don't know how to explain it, but like soft or like when you eat like a grape that is not green anymore, it start to get a little yellow. That shouldn't be a good olive oil.
Okay. So beside your grandmother, who inspired you the most in your career?
Yeah, my grandmother and my aunt, my family in general. But then also I have like two great mentor in Italy. One of them was Gualtiero Marchesi. He was basically the person that brought the Nouvelle cuisine in Italy. So like basically before him, there weren't restaurant. There were just osteria. There were just trattoria. So he was like a very icon in Italy. It's like saying, I don't know, Jacques Pepin here or Thomas Keller. And then the other one is Giancarlo Perbellini. He has two Michelin star in Verona. And he actually is thanks to him that I'm in New York. I came here because he was consulting on a project and he brought me over. And I said to him, now I'm not coming back. And he was like, yeah, I mean, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. But I still like he's my mentor, so I still talk to him, and
Okay.
yeah, he's always part of my career.
So what did you learn from both of them? What do you think?
Well, I feel like with the Gualtiero Marchese, I learned a lot of discipline and basic stuff in the kitchen, and with Perbellini, I just start to learn how take those base they have and just make it bigger and stronger and still stay simple and truly to your flavor.
So what's your most preferred like ingredients like in each seasons that will inspire you? If we start now with like the end of the fall, for instance, and then.
Well, the end right now, I just love radicchio. I like
Okay.
radicchio and every type of radicchio or like squash. It's like in America there are so many squash.
That's true. Yeah.
It's just crazy how many squash is like every time I go to the market. It's like, wait a second, this one wasn't here last year. What is this new squash?
So you do it. You use it like as a part of the filling in filled pasta.
Yeah,
or?
I have right now like a ravioli di zucca. So basically, ravioli stuffed with squash and mostarda di cremona and amaretti and grana padano. Very traditional, but like instead to use the squash that we always use in Italy. Honestly, I don't even know the name anymore because here maybe it's calling another name. Like right now, I'm using kabocha squash because I feel like kabocha squash is just great, has so much deep flavor, and is like something very similar to the one that I couldn't find in Italy. But if you look at it, it's not the same one. But like the flavor profile is just like so interesting.
Okay. And so in what's going to be in the winter? What is going to inspire you in the winter?
I love cabbage. I really love cabbage, and there is a dish actually that is called pizzoccheri, and it's like a dish that I always try to make at the restaurant, but not a lot of people can understand it. And it's just like sometimes it's frustrating because it's like I grew up with this dish and I always love it so much. But like it's like something so different that people don't really sometimes just they want the simple things, you know? This pasta pizzoccheri is made with buckwheat, so the texture of the pasta, the flavor is like so deep and so earthy that is like some people just are not in love with it. But then it's like a ton of butter and sage and fontina cheese and just like it's so delicious and cabbage obviously that's the core of it, Savoy cabbage, and it's just like so good that like it was something that my mother will always make me during winter every Sunday because it's just like one of my favorite dish.
Okay. You're making me hungry. We are recording here at the
I
end of
know.
the day, and it's almost dinner time, and I'm like, wow.
I know, I'm hungry. I'm getting hungry too.
So, and in the winter, so of course, there's a lot of potatoes. You're not doing, so I have to talk to you about those fabulous gnocchi that I got, potato gnocchi that I had, in Firenze when I went several times there. And there was a little tiny restaurant, and it was like the best potato gnocchis that I ever experienced. So,
Well, you should come to LaRina, then you tell me if they were the best at that.
You're talking like a true Italian. So,
obviously.
So you're making potato gnocchis at LaRina as well? Oh, cool.
Yeah, right now I have a potato gnocchi with, it's just very simple. It's like potato gnocchi with mushroom ragu and Castelmagno cheese. That is a cheese from Piemonte and has like a different flavor, very, very deep flavor and sharp. So kind of cut it through the mushroom and the gnocchi.
Okay, so when let's say the situation will be better, definitely I'll come over.
Yeah.
And so now, if you go to the spring, so what inspired you in the spring?
Spring, everything that is green. Honestly, it's most of the things. Yeah, I mean fava beans. I love fava beans, peas, fava, ramps, obviously. But like ramps is such an interesting flavor that at the beginning I couldn't understand here, and then like it took me a little bit to understand what I can think about ramps in Italy. So basically, in Italy it's called aglio orsino, but still it's like different. So like in the years, I'm like in the same time using this product, I'm kind of learning every season. I'm learning something new about product that I never used before.
So what are you making with the ramps?
I pickle them and preserve them, but one of my favorite dishes is actually that I made in the past. It was ramps and basil pesto with pistachio, and then I made this pasta called fazzoletti. It means handkerchief. So it was like a rye pasta and beautiful pasta and burrata on top, and that was actually one of my favorite dishes.
Okay, so now we are arriving the last season part, like the summer.
Tomatoes, part of my heart, part of my tomato and basil is what I'm made for.
So what kind of tomato? Because they have like fantastic heirloom tomatoes, here in the US, and so. But I don't know what kind of tomatoes that you are using.
I just
Of course,
love all of them.
all of them. I'm based in New Jersey, so everyone here is going to say, "Oh, the best tomatoes
New
are here in
Jersey,
New
yeah.
Jersey."
But heirloom tomatoes, I love tomatoes on the vine. They're so delicious. Heirloom tomatoes, obviously. Like any good ripe tomatoes, even like any type of tomatoes. I just love all of them.
Okay. So how have you been navigating through, the pandemic?
I've been very busy, honestly. The restaurant, so my restaurant is in Brooklyn. It's called LaRina Pastificio Vino. And so we have a restaurant. It's a restaurant, but also we have a little market on the back. And so when we had the news about everything shutting down, I was actually the first one to be like, why don't we stay open? And it's our restaurant. It's a restaurant for Green. We have a lot of regulars. It's a neighborhood restaurant. And so what we did, basically, we put that little market that we always had on the back that people almost never see it. They always think maybe it was just ornaments, but actually it's like a functional market. So we just put it on the front actually of the restaurant, and we start to just sell pasta and flour and all the goodies from Italy that we have in the restaurant, do to go. So everybody were getting boring about COVID and like stay home and making sourdough bread. I was actually the one making sourdough bread for the others, and pasta and everything. So I kept myself busy.
Okay, so you were selling your pasta at the market then?
Yeah, we
And
sell
in
all the
Arizona.
fresh pasta and sauces and all product from Italy. Trying to give everybody a way to feel better. I feel like food makes you do that, and so why not give that service?
Absolutely, yeah. People are looking for comfort, so obviously food is a good way of doing it. So I want like to pick up your brain. I always like to ask the guest on the show to share a recipe of that a home cook, someone like me can do, at home. So of course we have to talk about pasta, obviously. So
Obviously.
what can we do? What can we do that will be something a little bit creative, like with a Silvia Barban like twist, on it.
Sure. I mean, we were talking about gnocchi, so why we don't do a gnocchi dish?
Oh, yeah. I have to take notes here now. Okay, go for it.
But like instead to use regular potatoes, we can use sweet
Sure.
potatoes.
Sure. Okay.
And a very interesting things about using potato is I suggest to always bake it in the oven instead of boiling in water. So then you don't have potatoes there very wet. And so then you don't have to put as much flour as like normal you would have put, because then it gets sticky. So for example, it could be, obviously I'm going to say in kilo and grams and stuff like that, but it could be 1 kilo of potatoes, and even better if they're a little old, so they're getting starchier, and you bake in the oven until they get, cooked and soft, and then you peel them off. And always work on potatoes to make gnocchi when they're warm and not cold. So then also it's easier to handle and to absorb the other ingredients. And so then you should have a ricer, you rice the potatoes, and then you add usually around 200, 300 grams of flour, zero flour, regular flour, 1 egg, and 100 grams of Parmigiano, grated Parmigiano, but like the real Parmigiano Reggiano, not the fake one.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
And then salt and black pepper, and then you start to just mix it all together. You don't even need to like knead it so much, because you don't wanna then to have the problem to add more flour. And then you just like cut it these long snakes and cut in like little square. Put in a pot of water boiling. Always put the salt when the water boiling, not before.
Okay.
Otherwise, it takes forever. And then what should we do for sauce?
Exactly. I was on my way to ask the question, and then you can even I think that's, we can make like two different sauces, right? Depending because I'm sure we can make some variations and have different
Yeah,
dishes.
we can do
So,
so many variation. Like I really like lamb. I like a lamb ragu.
lamb?
Is like lamb
Okay.
ragu will be so
Okay.
good because like the sweet potato are sweet. The lamb is like have like a little strong flavor, and the sweet potato they go so well with it. And like with the lamb ragu, what I always suggest is like just put a lot of flavor on it, like mint and rosemary and sage and garlic, and just olive oil and cover with like wine, red wine, and just
Okay.
let it cook in the oven until it's like tender, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Celery, carrots,
Mm-hmm.
onion, and then just take it off when it's cooked. Take it off from the liquid. The liquid you let it reduce, and the lamb you just pull it apart, and then you just add that on the gnocchi and just saute with that, and maybe you finish it with some parmigiano or parmesan is like something that always everybody has. But like for example, like I will not put butter. You see, because the lamb is already rich that you want to taste the lamb. You don't want to taste another flavor. You don't want to taste cream. You want to taste the lamb. And maybe like you can put also maybe some oyster mushroom together as well, just to have a little flavor, a different flavor, or you can pickle some oyster mushroom. So just have another deeper flavor.
Okay. So if we want to do like another type of sauce.
I feel like another sauce that it will be super easy is just like using the cooking water of the where you cook the potatoes, the gnocchi, and you add just pecorino and parmigiano and black pepper, and you don't need nothing else. Maybe you wanna finish it on top with some nuts if you like hazelnut or walnuts, or maybe like some. When you make Brussels sprouts, you always have those leftover leaves,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
one on the edges, instead to throw
Yeah.
away, just crisp it up in the oven and
Oh,
just
that's
finish
cool.
it on top of the gnocchi.
Sure, to have like a little crispy in a mouthfeel. So that's cool. Do you put any dash of like white wine in that sauce or not? Not at all.
In
Like
the which one?
in the second one, the one that you use
Uh
the boiling water.
no, because
No.
there is already the parmigiano and the pecorino and the black pepper and
Okay.
like Brussels sprouts. Maybe like you can put a little vinegar on the Brussels sprouts,
Mm-hmm.
just to give a little sour flavor. So just
Okay.
to cut it through.
Very cool. That sounds delicious. Now we have to finish like quick the
Yeah.
discussion because I have to go to my kitchen. So let's finish with a series of rapid fire questions, if you don't mind. So you and I, we are going on a tasting tour. Let's say that there's no pandemic, and we are going to a tasting tour in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. So what are like the 5 spots that you will take me to? And not
Ooh.
not LaRina, outside of LaRina. Of course, I will have a great feast at LaRina the night before.
2 good spots to start the day with. It will
Mm-hmm.
be Okonomi to have a Japanese breakfast.
Okay.
And the other one will be Winson
Absolutely.
Bakery.
Yeah.
And then I really love Four Horsemen.
Yes.
Is one
Yeah.
of the great places, and Sunday in Brooklyn is another one that I really really love.
Yep. Yeah.
And then it all depends. I feel like it's always something different. There is this new restaurant, and it's so good. Actually, it's always like for the midday, but it could be at night, and it's called For All Things Good. And it's a
Okay.
new restaurant in Bed-Stuy, and it's so good. And they do like tortillas every day
Okay. I don't know
by
this one. Oh,
scratch.
I'm fine. Okay. Cool.
They just open.
Okay. That's why. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's your favorite guilty pleasure food?
My guilty pleasure food.
Your
It's
guilty
a
pleasure
tricky
food.
one. I feel like French fries.
French fries. Okay. French fries like this with salt and pepper on it, or like you put something on the French fries?
I feel like French fries or pizza.
Okay, but nothing on the French fries, correct? You don't put any sauce, or there's
I
some
mean,
people
yes,
here. Yes.
ketchup and mayo mixed together.
Okay.
That's the
Ketchup
magic sauce.
Okay. Cool. What's like are like 3 cookbooks that inspired you the most in your career?
There is like so many.
Yes. But I just want I just want three.
Well, one of the book is actually from my chef Giancarlo Perbellini and his book.
Okay. What's the name of it? Do you remember the name of it? Or?
It's called Giancarlo Perbellini.
Okay, that's an easy one. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, and the other one it's from this chef from UK actually.
Okay.
And I forgot all the names now. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I know.
And it's basically these chefs in UK. The book is called Silo because that's the name of his restaurant. And basically, all this menu is with zero waste. They use everything from the bottle of wine. They give it to someone and just make out of glasses and plates with it. And it's just so fascinating, all the recipe that he has as well. And the third one is now I don't know why I cannot remember the name, but it's a book about vegetable.
Okay. I can hear you. I can hear you Googling.
You can get it because it's Jeremy Fox is the name. It's just I cannot remember.
Oh yes, I know what you mean. Sure. Yeah, yes, I know the book from Jeremy Fox. Yes, on veggies. Yeah. It's a great one. I'll find it. Don't worry. So very cool. What's your biggest pet peeves in the kitchen? The things that you cannot stand, like people are doing.
Yeah, one of the thing is take off the tape from containers.
Okay.
That's one of them.
They are not taking them off, or that's
they're not taking them off.
When the container is empty, correct? That's the idea. They leave the tape on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or they put it like another one on on top of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the book is called On Vegetables.
Yes, on vegetables. Yeah. So now, beside the classics and the condiments, spice and sauces, and like the ketchup and the mayo that you mentioned, what other like condiment, spices, and sauces do you have on hand at home?
I mean, olive oil.
Sure.
Olive oil, and then I really love za'atar. Even if it's not part of my background, but I just love za'atar. I really like having salsa matcha actually from For All Things Good. They make an amazing salsa matcha, tahini, any nuts possible. That's something always I like. Nutritional yeast, everything bagel seasoning.
Okay, everything bagel seasoning. Okay,
it's very unusual.
Yeah,
but this is if we're talking about home.
Yeah,
I cannot have those things at work, but at home.
So what do you do with the everything bagel seasoning? What do you use for?
I use it in eggs, like literally everything. This morning I made myself with my left hand. I made myself stir fry rice and I finished it with everything bagel seasoning.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's definitely, they won't have that in Italy.
Yeah, no. Neither the fried rice or the everything bagel seasoning.
That's
my
true.
mother always, every time I call her and I FaceTime her, she's like, "What are you eating?" I'm like, "What are you eating for breakfast?" I'm like, "Fried rice." And she was like, "What? What about cookies and milk?" I'm like, "Nah."
So what do you miss the most from Italy?
I mean, food. Oh, my family and food.
Sure. Okay, but now you have to be specific about the food. What do you miss the most in the food?
Any vegetable. Like we were talking about tomato, is just like tomato from Italy tastes better. Sorry, but that's the truth.
Okay,
or I want fruit like peaches.
I won't say anything to my friends in New Jersey. Don't worry. They will continue to have that like in a sauce with spaghetti and meatballs. So.
Yeah.
Okay, Chef. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I really appreciate your time and thank you for accepting to be on it like the day before your surgery and on the finger. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. It was a fun conversation.
Thank you for listening to the podcast Flavors Unknown. I enjoyed my conversation with Chef Silvia Barban, and I cannot wait to get to LaRina restaurant in Brooklyn to taste her famous potato gnocchis. If you like this episode, please remember to share it with a friend or a colleague. You can access the show notes of these episodes and all the other episodes on the website flavorsunknown.com. Don't forget as well to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Flavors Unknown. Do you know about the Facebook group, The Learning Chef? If you don't, check it out. It is a great educational platform made by chefs for chefs. Next week, my guest will be Chef Chris Spear from Chefs Without Restaurant. He has a great podcast, and he will talk about the world of independent chefs and what he is doing to foster a community to bring independent chefs together. I see you in 2 weeks, and until then, remember that people who love to eat are always the best people.
You've just enjoyed another delicious episode of Flavors Unknown. Hungry for more? Hit subscribe. Tell us where you're listening from by leaving a review. And for social media and show notes, head to flavorsunknown.com.